Good morning, first grade. This is Miss Berry here for our Tuesday lesson. I hope that you had a wonderful long weekend and you're feeling rested and ready for another week of online learning. This is going to be a short week. We only have 4 days of learning. So you might have noticed we didn't post any new lessons yesterday for Monday. So we're starting fresh today with Tuesday with a new renewed mindset, hopefully, and ready for new learning. So this week we are switching gears in our reading and we're switching from learning about fiction text to nonfiction text. Does anybody know the difference between fiction and nonfiction? Let me hear your thoughts. Great ideas. Yeah. So the fiction texts that we've been reading are make-believe stories. They're made up stories that aren't really true. They're things that could happen in real life, but they're make-believe. And we have characters like animals that can talk, things that wouldn't really happen in real life. Nonfiction is true and real. A nonfiction book is meant to be a teaching book. It's so that we can learn something from a nonfiction book. So we're going to start talking about nonfiction this week. And our big target is I can identify text features in a nonfiction book. So let's do that with our mirror. Ready? Mirror. Mirror with words. Repeat after me. I can identify text features in a nonfiction book. Great. So this is the same thing we've been working on with our fiction books. In fiction, we were looking for text features. Now we're looking for text features in nonfiction. So we're going to get really good at every kind of text that can come across our desk. Awesome. So let's go ahead and get started right away. I have a video that I'd like to have us watch first that talks about fiction versus nonfiction, just to get our minds ready to shift, because we've been doing fiction for so long. We have to start thinking about the new kind of book. So I'm going to share my screen with you and we'll watch that first. Okay. Here we go.
Fiction is pretend, a make-believe creation. Non-fiction is real, it gives us information. Fiction's full of characters, a plot and a setting. In non-fiction, it's real life knowledge that you're getting. A book with talking dogs, that's fiction. A book about the life cycle of frogs. Non-fiction, a book about a mouse who saves the day. That's fiction, a book that teaches you how to dance ballet. Non-fiction, a book about a fire-breathing man. That's fiction, a book about the different types of plants. Non-fiction. Fiction is pretend, a make-believe creation. Non-fiction is real, it gives us information. Fiction's full of characters, a plot and a setting. In non-fiction, it's real life knowledge that you're getting. A book about a dragon having fun. That's fiction, a book on how the earth goes around the sun. Non-fiction, a book where a troll makes a princess afraid. That's fiction, a book showing how big planes are made. Non-fiction, a book with a dinosaur who ruins the school day. That's fiction, a book on famous people in the USA. Non-fiction. Fiction is pretend, a make-believe creation. Non-fiction is real, it gives us information. Fiction's full of characters, a plot and a setting. In non-fiction, it's real life knowledge that you're getting.
Great. Okay, welcome back, my friends. I hope you enjoyed that little video and it made your mind start thinking about what nonfiction is going to look like. So today we're going to read just certain pages from this book together. It's called Little Kids' First Big Book of Birds. And this is a nonfiction text. I can tell because this photograph is a real photograph. This is a real parrot, and somebody took this picture. They didn't draw it. It's not something that they painted. It's a real picture. I also know that it's real because when I look at the back and start seeing what I'm going to be learning about, I see that there are real photos throughout the whole book and that it's meant to teach me more about birds. So if I'm going to learn more real information, it has to be nonfiction, not fiction. So we're going to dig into this book together and we're going to look at some of the text features that the author uses to help organize his writing. These text features help us to better understand what the author is trying to teach us about birds. So I'm going to zoom you in really close so you can see my book a little bit better. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started and look at the first couple pages. When I open up my book, I see a wonderful photograph and my introduction page, Little Kids' First Book of Birds. And then I see this page here. Now I'm going to show you really close up. When you look at this page here, I have some words that are yellow that tell me the titles of chapters. So I have an introduction, then I have chapter 1, Bird Basics, chapter 2, Flyers, Runners, and Swimmers. Underneath those yellow words, I have some other words that are in different colors that have more to do with the topic. So chapter 1 is Bird Basics, and each heading underneath that says beaks, eggs and chicks, flying, bird watching. So those are more information I'll learn about bird basics. So we call this page in a nonfiction book the table of contents. And the table of contents is a fancy word that tells us that we're going to learn the title of each chapter and what page I can find that chapter on. So say I wanted to skip chapter 1 and I wanted to go to chapter 2, I can look on here and I see chapter 2, Flyers, Runners, and Swimmers, and that's on page 18. So I could skip to page 18 if I wanted to go ahead to chapter 2. The table of contents tells me where to find that, okay? So we're gonna add that feature to our anchor chart. Before we do that, I wanna make sure I label it in my book so that I don't forget about it. So I'm gonna put table of contents right here so I remember that that's what this page is called. So let's add that to our anchor chart so that we can keep track of what all of these things help us with. So I just told you the table of contents will show you the title of the chapter and what page to find that on. So I'm going to write down title of each chapter and page number. Perfect. Great. So let's keep going. I know that's a little bit blurry to see, but it says the title of each chapter and the page numbers. That's what we just talked about. So next we're going to move on through our book and look at some other pages and see if anything pops out at us. What is the author doing that's different in this nonfiction book that we don't see in fiction books, okay? So I'm gonna keep turning the pages and I'm gonna go to chapter 1. Chapter 1, Bird Basics. About 10,000 different species or kinds of birds fly, swim, and walk around on planet Earth. In this chapter, discover what makes an animal a bird. Oh, all right, so I want you to help me out here. I'm going to show you these two pages really close up in just a minute. And I want you to examine the words and the pictures and see if you notice anything about them that's maybe different or that's sticking out to you about them, okay? So let's look really close. And actually, I think I'm going to show you this page more. Did anybody notice anything? Let me tell you some of the things that I saw. The first thing I noticed is right here in that box, I noticed that some of the words are darker. The words look like fatter and darker. When we see words that look like that, we call them bold words. Bold words in a nonfiction book help me to know what something is important. If the author really wants me to know that word, it's an important word, he's going to make it bold. So I am going to label that in here, bold words. And I'm going to put it right underneath this box because that's where I found them, was inside that box. Now, I also noticed on both of these headings, this one, all, sorry, guys, my microphone went out. This one, all birds have feathers. And this one, all birds have beaks. Those letters aren't black like the ones down here. They're colored. So sometimes an author might make the words colored if he wants that to stick out. Those are little headings that tell me what the page is going to be about. So I'm going to put colored words as something important too. And I'm going to have that point right to the blue ones over here. So I'll show you what I did. Colored words. Awesome. Now let's go back to this page. I want you to take a look at the pictures on the bottom. When you look at the pictures on the bottom, you'll see that they're not drawn by somebody. They're not painted. They're not collages. It's not something that someone created. They are real photographs. So somebody went outside and saw these birds in their natural habitat and took a picture with a camera, and then they put that picture right into the book. When it's a real picture, we call it a photograph. A photograph is another word for something that you take with a camera, and it's real. So I'm going to label these as photographs. I'm pointing to it right there, photograph. Now, underneath the photograph, we learned some more information about each of these birds. So let me read to you what we see. This is a hummingbird here, and it says, a long, skinny beak helps the collared sunbird. Oh, I was so wrong about what kind it is. Good thing we read. A long, skinny beak helps the collared sunbird reach into flowers to sip nectar, a sweet juice inside. This little box here where we learned more information about the picture, we call it a caption. A caption is with your picture and it gives us more information about the picture that is there. So this caption will tell me more about that word and this caption will tell me more about this. Let's label that. Great. We have some things that we need to add to our anchor chart because I just put a lot of things into that book that I've been noticing and that you've been noticing about the page. So one of the things that we said we saw were different types of print. And the types of print that we saw was bold words. I'm going to make that word like thicker and darker because that's what we know about bold. See how I made it really dark? Yeah. Bold words help the reader find keywords in the text. Keywords are the really important words that tell us more information that we need to learn. Awesome. The other thing that we added was a photograph. Can you tell me what is a photograph? Is it a real picture or like a drawn picture? You got it. Yeah, a photograph is real. It's taken with a camera. So, a real picture. And it shows somebody what something looks like. I'm going to write that. That shows what something Perfect. A real picture that shows what something looks like. Great. Now, the last thing on here is a caption. The caption was that thing that I showed you underneath the photograph. We said the caption gives us more information. So we look to a caption to get some information about the photograph. Yeah, so let's write that. The caption gives the reader more information about the picture. Awesome. You guys are zooming right through these text features. Does anybody remember learning about text features at another time? Put your hand on your head if you remember some of these text features. Oh, great. Yes, we learned about text features when we studied our content when we were back at school. So these aren't new, but we're kind of reviewing them because it's been a little while since we talked about them and we want to always keep them fresh in our mind. Great. I'm glad you're recognizing them. I have one more that I want to show you today. So I'm going to turn my page all the way to the back of the book and look how big this book is. There's so much information in here. But I'm going to skip all the way to the back. You know what I'm noticing as I'm flipping through? Like every page has bold words, photographs, and captions. Like every single page. Look at that. Bold words, photographs, caption, up here, photograph, caption, photograph, caption, bold words. That helps me to find my information. Wow. Every page. Okay, like I said, I'm going to go all the way to the back, and I want to show you something that the author puts in the back of nonfiction books a lot. This page right here. Now, if you look at the bottom, there are some words that are bolded and then smaller words underneath. These are definitions. So when there's a really tricky word in our book that we're not really sure, like, I don't know what that is, you can go to the back of your book and find this page that we call the glossary. And actually, that word's up here already. I'm going to put it right next to it. We call it the glossary. On the glossary, you will find words that are tricky that you might need to know the meaning of and their definitions. So say I'm reading along and I come to the word predator. I don't know what a predator is. I can turn to the glossary and when I look, it says a predator is an animal that hunts other animals for food. So I know a predator is an animal that's going to eat other animals. That tells me more. So now I can go back to the page I was reading and it helps me to better understand the words that the author's telling me and the information that he's telling me. Yeah. So the glossary is really, really helpful because I can find any definition that I need. And I'm going to put that on your anchor chart because I don't want to forget about that page. It's so helpful. So I'm moving in real close to our anchor chart. And a glossary gives the definition of important words. Awesome. Great. So my friends, you have done all the work that we need to do today together. We're only going to introduce these first few text features. We'll talk about the rest of the text features tomorrow. But you have a special thing that you get to do right now. When you get into Google Classroom and you look at your assignment today, you are going to make your own all about nonfiction text features book. So when we're finished, you'll have a book that can tell you all of these text features. You'll know a table of contents does this, a glossary does this, a photograph does this, and you're going to know all of that information. And if you ever forget, you'll be able to go back and look at that book and say, what's a table of contents again? What's that thing I use to find definitions? And you can check in your book. So I want to show you what your assignment looks like today. And remember, our big target for the full week that we're working toward is I can identify text features in a nonfiction book. So you're going to work today to match some pictures to their text feature. So let me show you what that looks like. This is the assignment in Google Classroom, and your job is to go to each of the pages of your book. So if you look on the left, there's 1, 2, 3 different slides that you have to go to. On each slide, you're going to read the title, table of contents, and if you need to read the description, you can. It says a table of contents gives the names and location of each chapter. So you need to find which picture matches the table of contents. I'm looking for what gives me the names of chapters. Oh, this one. So you're going to click it and hold the button and drag it with your finger to this box. All about sharks. The next one says bold print. So you need to find which of these pictures has bold print on it, and you'll drag that picture in. Then you're going to go to the next page. You'll do photograph and caption, and the next page you'll find the glossary. Once all of these boxes here are filled in, you are finished with your assignment, and you can exit out and click Turn In. Don't forget to click Turn In on Google Classroom. All right, my friends, that's all for today. Go ahead and get started right away while the ideas are still fresh in your head. If you need support, you can go back and watch this video again to be thinking about what those text features are. You guys have seen this before, and I know you're going to do a great job. Goodbye. I'll see you tomorrow.